I'm going to talk about book spoilery things now. So this is your warning. If you have not read the books and you do not want to be spoiled on them, then you should not watch the rest of this video.
Yeah, this will be our last topic, so you're safe to leave and know that we're not going to talk about other stuff. Book spoilers.
Book spoilers, and this is actually another question, and a lot of people ask this question, but Dan Proudfoot asks, what do you think of the R plus L equals J theory? Feasible question mark? So let's break that down for people who might not know what that equation means.
Or like, why are you asking me like a physics high school
Why are we talking about math?
Right.
So R is Rhaegar Targaryen.
Mm-hmm.
L is Lyanna Stark,
Yeah.
who is Ned's sister. If I'm not saying the names right, I think I am, but it's one of those things where you read them and I hear them in my own mind the way I hear them, damn it. Equals Jon Snow. So the theory is that they are actually, and I'm sure you guys, if you're watching this, know this, but we'll just say it in case. The theory is that, in fact, Ned Stark did not cheat on his wife, but that his sister, who, as we know, was kidnapped, taken by Rhaegar, got pregnant, had a son, and that he took that boy, who was Jon Snow, to raise him. And the reason that he called him his bastard, and he never said who he was, is because he would have been murdered.
Because they were killing
all of them.
All the Targaryens.
And so if they knew that this was a Targaryen who had a claim to the throne, he would have been murdered.
Yeah.
So he didn't. He protected his identity, even from his wife, from everybody. So that's the theory. Do I think it's feasible? Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Totally feasible. And in fact, because the show is going to be spoiling things from the books, as we know, I think they're dropping great hints about it in this very episode. Let's talk about why.
Yeah, there was a lot suddenly. I mean, and you have to think, I mean, because I guess we could even say that we're not really going into book spoilers in that it's all theories that I guess you could come up watching the show. It's just that the books give you a lot more time and talk about those characters from the past to work on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, this episode brought up stuff in a big way. I mean, one thing that leapt out to me was to explicitly have Stannis say something a lot of people say, which is when his wife was going on a rant about Ned Stark, you know, getting some tavern wench or whatever pregnant, being like, that was very Ned Stark-like, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the thing is like we have to, that's why it always felt weird is like Ned Stark, the noble, the true, like the one pure classic hero, cheated on his wife while he was off fighting a war, doesn't sound like Ned Stark, and so that was always a big reason to doubt this kid was really his son.
Yeah, exactly. He was such a man of integrity, just wasn't his way, which isn't to say that men of integrity don't cheat and have flaws. They do. But everyone has said this was unlike him.
Yes.
This particular act was very unlike him. So that's one thing. And then, so you have in that scene with Sansa and Littlefinger, they're talking about her. And they're talking about how Rhaegar kidnapped her.
Yeah.
But the story that Littlefinger tells is a grand gesture of love. He, won, and he threw the flowers at her feet, basically choosing her and declaring his love in front of his wife, which is not very nice. But, and then when she says, yeah, well, he chose her, and then he took her and he raped her, Littlefinger does this, like, And I don't think that little smirk was like, rape is so much fun. At all.
It was like there's more to that story.
There's more to that story that you don't know. And then piece of evidence number 3 is the scene with Daenerys.
That's, what we were talking about suddenly kind of out of nowhere, having, Sir Barristan and her to have this conversation about Rhaegar and hearing about him again from a different perspective in a better way than we're here, because we hear so much of like bad stuff about him, and then it was like, no, maybe there's more to that than we're hearing about.
Yeah, it paints him, he hated killing. It paints a very different picture of who Rhaegar was. It paints a picture of maybe a connection that people didn't understand that birthed Jon Snow. So I think it is entirely plausible and probable, in fact, and I think the show may reveal it.
Yeah, and I think you also have to remember that, a couple things here, because it's like, will be a big twist if everyone's guessing it. I'm like, let's take into account some truths here. This series of books is taking forever for him to finish, so it's only giving people more time to come up with these theories. And he has acknowledged that some people have guessed correctly some stuff. He hasn't said what, but he said, yeah, some people have guessed some stuff. And And that just seems like, yeah, there could be some weird veer into another direction, but it seems like we're being given a lot of reasons to think that this is likely where they're going.
And the very first meeting that he had with David Benioff and T.B. Weiss before they started the series, the question that he asked was, who is Jon Snow's mother? And they answered correctly.
Yeah.
And he said, okay.
Yeah, we don't know what they said, but they said that they told him an answer, and he was like very happy.
Very happy with that answer. So which brings me very quickly to a follow-up question, which is a different person. Stephen Saul asks, Jon Snow and Ramsay Snow equal same mother. I don't think they know. I don't think they do have the same mother.
And make sure that people might not even realize that Snow is just the last name for bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the only reason I did pause on that is when thinking about Melisandre and making the smoke monster, because the biggest threats to Stannis at this point is Ramsay to some degree, and his father. But that's not enough for me to really think that they're connected by blood.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
I really think it's the other thing is what it is, and that will be revealed.